Welcome everyone to Conversations with Hamza. This is our new show. We've restructured our company to reflect our new direction. We're going to go through in these episodes, speaking to a different person every single time and getting their views and opinions about what it means to be them, how they view the world, how they come to their opinions. We have the wonderful little sister of mine, Eslem, here today. Say hello to the audience, Eslem.
Hello, audience.
Fantastic, terrific. Okay, so my first question to you is to get the ball rolling. You've recently become a taser, all right?
Okay, yes.
Tell us how that transformation has been.
I mean, it's not too big of a transformation because you've got 3 children already, and I've been an auntie to them for a while. So this is just another child to be an auntie for, but to a different sibling.
Yes. So you're saying that the feeling of being an auntie, because in Turkish we have 2 different words. We have a teyze and we have a hala.
Yeah.
So you've been a hala, but you haven't been a teyze.
Yeah.
But to the Australian person or to the non-Turkish person, let's say, an auntie is just an auntie, you know?
Yeah.
But Turks, they think about it as 2 different things. They think about it as, oh, you're a hala or you're a teyze. So isn't it interesting how they came up with those 2 different words to express those 2 different concepts?
But I never understood. I mean, not that I never understood. I never thought about it.
Mm.
But because, no, I think about this more in the grandparent sense because for your mum's mum, you say anneanne. For dad's dad, for dad's mum, you say babaanne. But for both granddads on either side, you say dede. So I thought, why do both dedes get to be the same?
Well,
grandmas have to be different.
According to dad, they would say büyük baba to their dad's dad. So büyük baba means, for our non-Turkish viewers, or listeners, it means big dad, like the rather than grandfather, which is like what dede means. Dede means grandfather. Büyük baba means like big dad, you know. So I guess it's just a different word that they use for that.
Maybe. Whereas when you're looking at aunties and uncles, there is differing words for mum's brother rather than dad's brother as well. I guess it's just an easier way to differentiate who you're talking about in the Turkish world. When you say hala, you're talking about dad's sister. Teyze, you're talking about mum's sister. So it's just instead of having to, especially since Turkish people have big families as well, it's an easy way to differentiate who you're talking about when you're referring to someone. Or who you're calling out to. You say teyze, they know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're saying it doesn't actually feel any different because the maternal instinct, let's say, you know what the maternal instinct is? It's like a feeling of caring, a feeling of wanting to take care of another child. It remains the same regardless of whether it's your brother's child or your sister's child.
Of course. I guess the only difference I see is obviously your wife stayed with her own mum when she has her children because she would obviously want to be more comfortable with her own family. Whereas because it's my sister, she stays with my mum because it's more comfortable for her. So you get to hear more stories of what happened or just be a bit more present with what's going on because it's your own mum. You're not a guest in your own mum's house. Whereas if I went to your in-laws, I do... Like, not that your in-laws are absolutely lovely, but I do feel like a guest to a certain extent because it's obviously not my mum, you know.
That's a very interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
So a bit of a change of direction. I would like to ask you, what do you feel is important in your life? In the sense of, if you could talk about anything in the world that you're interested in, what would it be?
That I'm interested in?
Like, when you wake up in the morning, what's your goal on a daily basis? What are you looking to get out of, this life?
Well,
and that can change over time, different periods of time. But right now, let's
for me, I mean, I don't know if I'm doing a good job at pursuing it, but right now, I guess it's just being smarter in this world. And I say that mainly because, especially because of social media, I do see a lot of misinformation going on about the world, whether it's normal day-to-day general facts or if it's particularly with medicine, because I do have a nurse background, like seeing a lot of misinformation in that. And I guess just...
Can you give the listener an example of this misinformation that you're talking about?
Oh, well, I don't want to get controversial
No,
now.
that's fine. This is the point of this show.
Well, I am pro-vaccine, for instance.
Okay, that's a great one to start with, because that's not controversial at all.
And that does not mean I don't have sympathy or compassion for people who are a bit more concerned or have a bit more questions about the vaccine. But I do feel like there are some people that make somewhat arguments like, okay, I can kind of see where you're coming from. But there's also some arguments I see that I just... No, let's not talk about vaccines, because that's a bit more...
It requires knowledge to talk about it.
Knowledge, but also just deeper conversation that I don't think I'm capable of saying verbally.
Yeah.
Because what I think in my head is different to what I say out loud.
Of course.
Diets. Or what the perfect diet is, for instance. Because there's this whole thing now of like, either eating a carnivore diet or, sugar-free diet. What else is there? It's just like, what did I see recently?
Do you want to hear my perspective on this?
What?
Do you want to hear my perspective on this?
Yeah. What you think the perfect diet is?
No, not the perfect diet. Like the idea of fad diets in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a fad diet is what it is. It's a fad diet, and a fad is something that comes and goes. Like it can be beneficial, it can be fun, it can be enjoyable, it can be whatever at a certain period of time. But the reality is, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
So it's like a trend that, some musician is really popular for a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, when it comes to nutrition, as I understand it, there's really only one thing that matters at the end of the day. That means, that doesn't mean, that what you eat in terms of meat or vegetables or all this sort of stuff, it's not that it doesn't matter, but really only one thing matters, and that's the amount of calories that you take in versus the amount of calories that you expend.
Well, yeah, that's a new thing now. And carbs for me is one of the biggest changes in that because, for instance, I went to my GP not long ago talking about weight loss, and I was telling her about these ideas I had of counting my calories and lifting weights at the gym to lose weight. And she's a bit of she's a very knowledgeable doctor, but a bit old school at the same time too. And she was giving me the classic advice that everyone else gave, which is don't eat carbs, don't eat fried food, which I 100% agree with, because fried food not only is bad for weight, but bad for multiple things. But avoiding fried food and avoiding carbohydrates like your pastas, your rice, your breads. And if you look at all the new information that's coming out there from all these younger dietitians as well, they're all very pro-carbohydrates. And it makes sense because even in high school, you're taught that carbohydrates is an energy source for your body and especially your brain. But whenever I talk to especially older people about losing weight, everyone's first thing is, but you have to give up rice, you have to give up pasta, you can't have bread. But what a lot of these dietitians are talking about now is, you'll lose weight cutting out carbs, but you'll also lose your mind as well. You'll become depressed and you're just going to get back on that diet that you thought was going to make you fat. So the main goal of most health professionals in the nutrition area is to create a healthy diet, but a sustainable one, something that people are going to be able to keep going long term. Consistency. So yes, eating healthy foods most of the time, but being allowed to have a slice of cake or a piece of chocolate at the end of the day, because it's that balance, because at the end of the day, for me, like chocolate brings me happiness. So like I wouldn't want to live in a world where I can't have those nice things,
I would agree with everything you're saying, but I think it's important to understand why it is the case that cutting carbs helps people lose weight. And it's not because there's something wrong with carbs. Carbs are evil. It's not the case. Do you know why? Like, I actually have some information on this topic. And if you want, I can share it with you.
Please do.
So carbs are just calories, just like everything else. For example, you look at a steak, it's got 500 calories. And you look at pasta, it's got 500 calories. Yeah?
Yeah.
But the amount of calories, the size of a 500 calorie steak is very big. Like it's a very big piece of food. Whereas the amount of the amount of size of pasta that makes 500 calories is very small.
Yeah.
So it becomes very easy to overeat carbs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in the sense of if I'm going to have a bowl and it's got spaghetti bolognese on there, and then I'm going to have a huge piece of steak, one's going to fill me up more than the other. Yeah. So if I have a lot more volume of food, it's going to make me feel fuller. Whereas if I have a smaller volume of food but equal amount of calories, I'm more likely to overeat that. Yeah. So for example, like with your chocolate cake example, 100 grams of chocolate cake could be, let's say, 300 calories. 100 grams of celery is like 20 calories. Yeah. So they're the same weight, but the amount of energy in that is much less. So when people say cut out carbs, it makes sense because carbs are one of the easiest things to overeat comfortably. It's not like, oh my God, it's very hard to eat this pasta. No, you can just keep it. If you notice that, like for example, chips, potato chips is a big one.
Yeah.
It's very fried foods you gave the example of. Very easy to overeat. So that the reality comes, like I'll let you finish and let me land. The reality is that you can lose weight eating carbs. You absolutely can, but it's harder because your overall volume of physical food needs to be less.
I would have to disagree with you.
Okay, tell me what you think.
Like, practically speaking, yes, you are going to be better off losing weight having a chicken salad without any carbs in there.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to lose weight. That's a fact. But putting like personal enjoyment into it, you're going to hate eating that chicken salad every day.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. Like, yes, it's probably a better option for weight loss, but you're not going to enjoy what you're eating. And because you're not going to enjoy it, you're going to eventually want to go back to your pre-old diet anyway.
True. But then it becomes a matter of discipline. I'm not saying you can't eat carbs. I'm just saying that you need to be much more disciplined about I'm only having one slice of bread. But if you don't think about it, if let's say you don't count your calories, and you don't put a lot of effort into planning things out, your body naturally starts overeating things. And I've seen this in myself.
Well, overeating, of course, that's where it has to stop. But that's, no, I get what you mean.
But that's what I'm saying. It's very hard to overeat vegetables. It's very hard to overeat steak.
Well, that's another thing with the weight loss thing. It's just like putting carbs aside, overeating anything at all. It's just like, it's hard to overeat like a chicken salad, for instance.
Exactly. But it's not hard to overeat mac and chips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the part that people don't understand. There's nothing evil or good about food itself.
Yeah.
It's about the amount you eat and how appetizing this certain, like for example, these companies that are making, I don't know, TV snacks and Tim Tams and all this sort of stuff, they have scientists working around the clock to figure out the exact formula to make this as delicious as possible.
Yeah.
So people want to eat more and buy more. This is very obvious to everyone. And it's not sinister. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to make people fat. It's just, I'm trying to make this product as good as I can make it. Whereas, let's say 500 years ago, everything you eat is coming from natural sources. Like it's coming from the ground, it's coming from a tree, it's coming from an animal, There's no factory of scientists working to make this thing as delicious as possible,
No.
Yeah, so that's my point. It's like we live in this world today where there's all these delicious options and it becomes very easy to overeat them. And a simple solution to that, which some people do, is don't eat carbs. Yeah?
Yeah.
Which will work. It will work. But like you said, how long can you go without eating carbs? And then when will you bounce back when you want to eat those carbs again? And will you go overboard and just pig out? And that's what happens.
Well, one thing I found that's amazing that we have nowadays, that we probably didn't have as kids or our parents' generation didn't have, is there's fitness influencers out there, for instance, that have done a really good job in making healthy, low-calorie foods, showing different recipes that actually taste really good. Like, I've actually tried some of them and they're delicious. So I feel like that's a new thing that hopefully our generations can utilize, is following the recipes of these people, because you can eat healthier and eat carbs as well in a more balanced way, but also enjoy it. Because back in the day, like if you wanted to eat carbs back in the day, for instance, you were encouraged to have like the whole meal version of it, which tastes like cardboard. So no one really wanted to eat it.
I don't mind.
I personally didn't like wholemeal pasta, for instance. It just tasted so grainy to me.
Yeah.
But nowadays you've got these people online that's making these recipes with like normal pasta, normal bread. I personally find them delicious. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's a very new positive thing that's come out from things like social media.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, the flip side of that is also, for example, a protein cookie. Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at a protein cookie and, oh, it's a protein cookie. It's healthy. You know, that healthy category.
Yeah.
I'm doing the air quotation marks with my hands. You look at that and a cookie from, I don't know, Cole's Bakery or, you know, some La Mana or whatever it is.
Mm.
You look at the calorie amount, it's the same amount of calories.
Yeah.
And one of them tastes kind of worse than the other, but because you think it's healthier, you'll eat that one, or people will eat
Well,
that.
it's a marketing thing. That's a new thing that
Exactly.
has been a big issue.
And that's my point. And guys like, for example, there's a guy named Evidence-Based Training. Have you ever seen that guy?
Yes.
You're probably a big fan of that guy.
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, but this is what he talks about. He talks about, like, why are you doing this to yourself? Just count the number of calories, and if it fits into your level that you should be having for the day, just eat it.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. I totally agree with that. The problem is people, there has to be effort in some way.
Of course.
Effort is going to come either, for example, I'm not going to have any carbs, is effort, okay?
Yeah.
But if you say I want to have carbs, you have to put the effort in a different way. You have to put the effort in counting the calories. That's a different type of effort. That's a mental, psychological effort. So you must have effort somehow, you know? And this is what I try to tell people. There's no easy fix-all option. You know, there's no, this is the solution.
Yeah.
You have to put effort towards something.
Well, this is how I feel when it comes to people taking like weight loss drugs or weight loss surgery.
Yes.
Is I'm not against weight loss drugs and weight loss surgery, especially if it's for someone who is so overweight that they could, I should choose my words carefully. They could lose their lives because of how large they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they don't do something about it soon. That's why
like
I find
extreme obesity.
Yeah, that's where I find weight loss surgery and weight loss drugs helpful.
Absolutely.
However, there are people nowadays that are not even that big, or they're big, but they could turn their lives around if they do it naturally, you know, like counting their calories, watching the foods that they eat.
Yes.
But they're not, because these surgeries and these weight loss drugs have become so readily available.
Absolutely.
Now.
But that's the thing, like same with muscle building, for example. You can build muscle naturally. Absolutely you can. Does steroids make it easier? Absolutely it does.
Yeah.
All right. It's not even a question. Like, if you take steroids and do no exercise, you will literally build muscle. This is a scientific fact that they've done in research. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you take steroids and you don't exercise, you will build muscle. That's how powerful it is. Same as these weight loss surgeries like the gastric bypass or Ozempic. You could just take them and do nothing and you will lose weight. Yeah. But the problem is they're not without consequences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People think it's like there is no free lunch. There is no free ride in anywhere. If something is extremely easy in one sector, it's going to have consequences on your life in another area. Like, for example, with steroids, if you take them, yes, you're going to build muscle, but your natural testosterone levels are going to drop.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's all about a balancing act of, if this person is about to die, you know, you're talking about the extreme obese person.
Yeah.
If they're about to die, what is the most important thing that we do? We have to get their weight down.
Yeah.
And if we have to cut their stomach and give them the gastric bypass or give them Ozempic, and they're going to have side effects because of that, we're willing to accept those because this is the most important thing.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to tell people. Like, people want to do things the best way. The reality is, as human beings, we got to do things the best way we can do them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of my friends may be extremely disciplined, eating the right way, going to the gym, whatever. I simply don't have that ability to do what he's doing, or I haven't developed that skill yet. I need to do what's right for me and accept the consequences either way. You know? So I think we're both on the same page when it comes to that. But do you feel like, in general, you're happy with your physical?
No.
No?
I want
you got stuff to work on?
Yeah, I mean, I think about this a lot recently, and it makes me really sad. But like, since I met my husband, he's really encouraged me to start the gym, and I've paid for gym memberships, but I probably go once every couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm trying to get better.
Very common story.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. Look, there is a part of me that's just not. There is laziness involved in there as well, but there is also that post-workout soreness that kills me a lot. It's just like,
can I give you some advice there?
hurts.
Can I give you some advice there? The soreness is there because you go every couple of weeks.
I know.
If you were to go consistently, let's say 2-3 times a week, but consistently, that soreness would disappear after a couple of weeks.
I know. And that's where the laziness comes in.
Exactly.
I know. And yeah.
And look, one thing I respect about you as compared to someone like my mum, for example, which I can't blame her. She's like a bit older, as people get older, they get more set in their ways. It's more difficult to stop them. And I can see in my own life this is happening. When you're 16 or whatever, or even younger than that, it's much easier to change the direction of your life. The older you get, the harder it is. Someone like my mum, for example, she's taught herself over the years, and not just her, but her generation in general, they've taught themselves over the years that discomfort is bad. Like, for example, when you lift a weight and you feel some sort of soreness or pain, that's bad. Don't do that because it's causing negativity in your life. Whereas that feeling should be chased. A healthy level of discomfort should be chased, And it's interesting, they actually do have that in other aspects of their lives. I'll give you an example. My mum is a very hard worker in terms of waking up, going to work, doing things, whatever. She's accepted in that area of her life that I'm uncomfortable now, but I'm doing this for a better purpose later, But she hasn't been able to do that for her physical fitness, let's say. And I don't blame her. It's just a thing that wasn't taught to her when she was younger. Literally, the mindset of a lot of older Turkish people is if something makes you uncomfortable physically, don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, how many times I heard from my older generation when I was doing jiu-jitsu or whatever and I had a scratch on my face or something, why are you doing this? You're hurting yourself. Yeah, but I'm making myself stronger. I'm sacrificing now so I can benefit myself later, you know? And they just simply don't understand that from the physical aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like being physically fit wasn't a thing in our parents' times.
It really wasn't.
It really wasn't.
It's fascinating, Eslem. You go into the gyms now and they're packed, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went to the gym first time in 2010, 11. I was about 16 years old. Okay. I'm telling you, the only people in the gym were these tatted up, muscular guys and young guys like us, 15, 16. There was no women in there. There was no normal, like, just day job workers in there. But now everyone's in the gym, Eslem. And it's really interesting how the shift has happened. Now, obviously, it's come with a lot of negative aspects as well because of the influencer culture. You have to look a certain way. You have to be a certain way. Absolutely. But as a net, I think it's a net positive, the amount of people that have gone to the gym.
I mean, there's a lot of negative things that have come with social media. No doubt about that. But I do feel like the fitness world has expanded a lot with social media because people are getting better information now. Like going back to the concept of carbs or just dieting and stuff, there's more proper knowledge now available, sustainable knowledge available on how to eat right and lose weight and also be fit as well because of these fitness. People that probably knew the best information, like they couldn't pass it out unless someone was paying them as a PT or a dietitian to give them that information. But now it's so readily available on social media. I just feel like, as you said, the culture of it has grown so much more and the benefit of working out has become so much more available as well.
And this leads into the idea more generally of doing difficult things to make your life better. Okay?
Yeah.
Fitness is just one aspect, But in general, when we wake up in the morning, and this is the part people don't understand. They think if they had unlimited money, they have like billions of dollars, their life would be better, okay? Your life would be better in some areas, but it will be way worse in other areas because what human beings need is a sense of purpose, is a sense of why am I getting up in the morning, okay? To get up in the morning, you need something that relies on you. For example, we gave my mum as an example. She works at the school. If she doesn't go, people are going to not have their paychecks ready or something like that.
Yeah.
When you go to work, someone is relying on you to make sure that the medicine that they get is the correct one or whatever it is, all right, as a nurse. Eslem's a nurse, by the way, if you guys didn't know, okay? We human beings need that in our lives. And when that's not there, that's where we start to feel depressed and sad, which is why you see so many people today. They wake up in the morning, they go on social media, they doom scroll for hours, and they do some job that they hate, and the job is not really helping anyone. It's kind of like a corporate job. You know those corporate jobs where you're just clicking buttons on the computer and it's going to get taken over by AI eventually anyway. That lifestyle is a serious, serious problem for the human psychology because human psychology needs to feel like it's under pressure and it needs to feel needed. And that's why, for example, something like kids is so important for so many people. I'm not saying everyone has to have kids, but most people need to have kids. Why? Because it gives you an inbuilt reason for living. In terms of, I have to take care of this living being or else they're going to die. That's the ultimate purpose, So in that sense, we're losing a lot of our purpose because a lot of these AI and a lot of these technologies are taking away, like, a 1,000 years ago, there was a job that humans would do, and now a machine does it. Okay. Yes, we have more time, we have more wealth because of that, but we lose a little bit of that meaning, and we have to replace it with something else. And right now, it's happening so quickly that people are struggling to replace it with something that's meaningful.
Yeah. No, you're right. Because I was thinking, like, even what was it? Yeah. No, because I was just thinking about the concept of like a very routine life. You wake up in the morning, make your breakfast, go to work, come back home, sleep, and it's just the same thing every day, constantly. And like, I don't know, I just feel like you wouldn't, if, and especially if you're single, you're living on your own, you're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
I feel like you would feel like you're stuck between two walls or something, because you're just, yes, you're working, you're doing something, but you don't feel like you're doing something good for the world.
Yeah,
If that
it's not
makes
fulfilling
sense.
you. I totally
Yeah.
agree. And Islam, like, you see the same story over and over again. Like, obviously, we have it less in our culture, and we're lucky. You know why? Because we get encouraged very early to get married and to have kids, to take on responsibility.
Yeah.
That's really the thing. But in a lot of the world today, a lot of the modern world today, you've got 30, 35, 40-year-olds that are still, I'm just, trying to figure things out, living my life, whatever. It's like, when you run away from responsibility, for example, marriage and kids, you will be more depressed. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you need to be a very special human being to be able to find a purpose in this world that is so important, that it's more important than having a family and having children and whatever,
Yeah.
It's rare. Like, I don't know, like, do you know of any men or women that are in their 40s, never been married, never had kids, and they're like happy with their lives?
I can't think of anyone at the moment.
Exactly. That's my point. It's like, if you want to do that, some people say, oh, that family life, it's not for me. I have my goals, I have my dreams, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve. Fantastic. I believe you.
Yeah.
But know that you are in an extreme minority of the world.
Yeah.
And what are the chances that you're actually right, or you're just mistaken and you're just trying to run away from responsibility? Like, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo is 1 in a billion person. Yeah. If if a kid says to you, I'm going to be the next Cristiano Ronaldo, you're going to be like, it's possible.
Yeah.
But what's the chances?
Yeah.
Pretty unlikely. So you need to accept that you might not be that 1 in a billion person, and you need to. People think that, that's just what our previous generations did. Our previous generations, they just grew up, they got married, they had kids, they worked, and then they died. Like, there's something wrong with that. Like, there's something, to look down upon that.
No, it isn't. And I've always had this thought of, if you choose to have the life of not getting married, not having kids, enjoying your independence, that's fine. I have issue with people that encourage others to do the exact same thing.
But you know why they're doing that? They're doing that because they don't want to be alone. They don't want to be the only one that's doing that.
Yeah, but you're alone anyway.
No, but they want other people to be saying to them, yeah, man, you're so right. And, like, people get support off each other.
Yeah.
And they start feeling, we're a group of these people that are individuals and we just have our fun and whatever.
Yeah.
Every human being wants to be in a group regardless of whether they think to or not.
I guess.
You
but
know?
I don't know. I just feel like I think I am. Maybe you might disagree. I'm really in this thing of, like, who cares? It's none of your business. If a person is not hurting someone else with their decisions,
yes,
why do you care what they choose to do with their life?
Absolutely. And I totally agree. My point is simply, I'm not trying to stop you. I think you should do whatever you want to do. What I'm trying to say is that you're going to learn eventually that this is not good for yourself. Now, if you come to the conclusion that that's not the case and it's actually good for you, fantastic. I'm just saying, in my experience, most people that think like that, they're wrong. Most people, they find out eventually that they're wrong. I'm not trying to change anyone.
I guess that's the danger of choosing that kind of... Look, there's some people that could get married and have a family and absolutely hate their lives, and that's also another minority.
For sure.
It's unfortunate, but it does happen.
Of course it happens.
But for people that do choose to have that life of not getting married, not having kids, being more independent, not having to rely on someone else, if they do discover in life that, I wish I do feel a bit alone. I wish I'd made different decisions. They're most likely going to figure that out way later in life.
And when it's too late.
When it's too late.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that
that's
is
just
my
the risk
point.
with coming with decisions like that.
Exactly. That is my point. That's what I try to tell people when we have this conversation. Like, I haven't had this conversation with a lot of people, but some people have said to me, I don't think I want to get married. I don't think I want to have kids. It's like, fair enough. I respect that. No problem. You can do what you want to do, but it's incredibly unlikely that that's going to happen and you're not going to regret it.
But do you know what I feel like as well? It's just like, it has to be their decision at the end.
No, it does. I have no interest in forcing anyone to do anything.
I was thinking about this when you told us that you decided to go back to uni to become a teacher, right?
Yeah.
And everyone was being all like, see, I told you should have finished it the first time round.
Yes.
Why did you this? And I'm like, yeah, it would have been good if you had finished uni the first time round, but you would have probably continued hating studying at uni. But you would have had someone else to blame, and you probably would have blamed someone else, like, oh, you forced me to go. I only went to uni because you wanted me to. And I thought this time round, you going back to uni is your decision and no one else's.
Yeah.
On one hand, because it's your decision, you're most likely going to actually enjoy what you're doing, put effort into it, and want to finish it.
Mm.
However, if it goes down to you still dislike going to uni and you still dislike studying, at least that was your decision at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
The only person you can blame is yourself.
I totally agree. And you're right in so many ways, because the consequences of a decision have to be worn or bared by the person who's making the decision.
Yeah.
Right? If a person feels like they were forced into something and then there's consequences for it, they're going to blame the person who forced them. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, you're totally right. If it goes bad, I can say to myself, this is what I chose to do, and this is the consequences that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
Whereas when we finished year 12, like you probably felt the same way, there was this expectation that you just go to uni.
Yeah.
Where I totally disagree with that now. I think, of course, going to uni is a great thing. There's nothing wrong with going to uni. But I do believe that there's a certain level of life experience that you need to gain to figure out who you want to be, you know?
And sorry, continue.
Let me just finish. And that, unfortunately, is not what I felt. Like when I finished year 12, I was very aimless. I was very like, let's just enjoy life. Like, let's play FIFA. I used to love playing FIFA 24/7. That's just what I used to like to do. And I went to uni, and I was 19 years old, and I'm in a placement, and I'm teaching high school kids. And I remember I was teaching year 10s or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I know these kids. Like, I went to the school that I used to go to. I went to Sirius College High School. And I'm like, bro, I don't have anything to give you guys because I don't know anything about the world. I'm the same as you, especially a teacher, because a teacher, that's a role of, it's a mentor role. Even if you think it's just showing people showing kids what the textbook says, it's not really. It's about modeling how to be a responsible human. Yeah. They learn how to do that from you. And if you don't have any of that life experience, I don't think you should be there. So that's why I think overall that the decision I made back then to try to become a teacher was wrong. And now I'm in a totally different space of my life. I'm a father to 3 children. I have big responsibility in terms of the jiu-jitsu team that I coach. 50, 60 people rely on me to explain, show things to them and be the leader of the group. That kind of responsibility. And also I've experienced life. Like I've experienced dealing with all these different financial aspects of life, buying a house, selling a house, all this sort of stuff. All this life experience allows you to see what the kids are likely going to go through in the future and to adjust your teaching according to each individual one.
Yeah.
No,
I don't disagree with you there. I do think for some people, they would prefer to have real life experience rather than going to uni as well, because they just feel like, what am I going to gain out of university? But I do feel like, because I remember having this conversation with Ahmet, one of our cousins, which is, because we were just talking about how our parents, they all expect all of their kids to go to university. It's just like no questions asked. You need to go. That's like, you can't possibly do anything in life if you don't go to uni.
Exactly.
But I feel like, I don't know, at least in my head, I thought in our parents' minds, because a lot of our parents' generation came from a place where they didn't have as much opportunity as us. They probably believed that going to university was the only way you could make big money, for instance, or just have a comfortable life.
Yeah.
And
which is an important aspect of life. Like having a comfortable financial situation is important,
yeah.
but it's not the only thing that matters.
No, of course not. But in my belief, like if I had children on my own and they said, I don't want to go to uni, I would be like, okay, that's fine. You don't have to go, or you can decide to go later, but you need to get a job. That's one prerequisite. If you don't go to university, you need to get a job straight away.
Yeah.
That would be a prerequisite of mine.
Or even a simpler way to go about that, rather than saying you need to do something, because obviously that's forcing someone to do something. My strategy would simply be, okay, you don't want to go to uni, what do you want to do?
You need to do something.
And if the answer is, oh, I don't know, it's like, well, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying you need to have your life planned out, but you need to have a goal right now. Even if it's a small goal. Like, for example, I want to go work at Macca's and I'm going to go do this and I'm going to buy a car for myself and whatever. I'm like, that's a goal. Beautiful. Go do that. And then we'll build from that when you reach that goal. And if you can't reach that goal, I'm going to be like, okay, why couldn't you reach that goal? What happened? Were you lazy? Were you think? And this is another aspect that I feel like our parents made a mistake. I'm just roasting my parents on here. But like my parents were very much so, and I think it came from a good part of them. Like we don't want our children to have to suffer during their the period where they finish year 12 and they actually get their proper job, whatever it is. Yeah, we don't want them to suffer, so we'll help them out. We'll give them pocket money and all this sort of stuff. But that incentivizes a young person, not child, 18, 19, young person, to be lazy, which is exactly what happened. Now, I'm not blaming my parents for my laziness. It came from me. But they allowed me to do that because it was a feeling of, it's okay, we'll take care of you for now. Whereas if I felt like, oh, I'm not going to be taken care of, because I know people, personally friends, where they grew up, let's say, without parents or without fathers, or even if they did grow up with parents, their parents were much more like, you're on your own. And they're more successful now than most people.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about it before. Remember how I said hardship in terms of physical thing? If you don't have hardship, you cannot grow. It's impossible to grow without hardship. So don't feel like forcing your kids to go through hardship by not providing everything for them is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Okay, birds, they push. You know what this is? Birds push the baby birds out of the nest. And it's like, fly, bro. Gullah, get out of here.
Yeah.
And if you can't fly, figure it out.
And there's also the other thing of, all right, I might be around to help you out, give you pocket money or whatever, but my thought is, I'm not going to be around forever. Maybe I might be gone earlier than we thought.
Yeah.
What's going to be left of the kids? Like, they need to be able to have the ability to figure. Obviously, I would want them to have the support, like even if we are gone, but they need to be able to figure life out on their own because, as I said, we're not going to be around. Parents are not going to be around forever.
Eslem, so, the feminine urge. This is, fathers have this too, but it is a feminine. The feminine urge is to protect your children from danger and from hardship. Yeah. Even little babies. Like, for example, a little baby climbs up on a playground. The mother generally the mother will say, oh, no, you'll hurt yourself. That's a feminine urge. Yeah. That is not virtuous. That's not good. You have to, as a human being, accept that the world is a dangerous place.
Yeah.
And you're basically sacrificing your child to the world. That's where the idea of, have you heard of the story of Hazrat Ibrahim?
Yes.
Where he was going to sacrifice his child for God.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the last minute, God said, I was testing you. And now you can have, you know the story.
Yes, yeah.
Yo, when you have a kid and they're going out into the world, when you're leaving them to school, for example, the first day, you're sacrificing them to God in a sense. You're saying, look, I don't have control. I don't know if they're going to be okay, but I want them to try this. And if you don't do that, there's deep consequences.
Oh, yeah.
If you say, no, I'm not going to sacrifice my child. I'm going to keep them to me so I can keep them safe. That's bad for you and that's bad for the kid.
Yeah, because...
So what an amazing lesson we can learn from a religious story.
Yeah.
People think that religious story is, Abraham was going to kill his son and then God came in and said, I was just testing you. And then, that's such a simplistic way of looking at it.
Yeah.
That story is saying everything we do is a sacrifice because we don't know if we walk out of this door right now, a car's going to hit us and we're going to die. We don't know.
Yeah.
accepting that we don't know, and we're like, I'm going into the world with faith. I'm believing in you, God, to protect me every day when I walk outside the door, even unknowingly. Even atheists, they don't know what's going to happen when they walk out the door, but they go do it anyway. Why don't they just cower inside their house?
Yeah.
Because they have faith that things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what an interesting way to look at it. That's from a book that I'm reading recently about religious stories in general and what their meaning is rather than just the religious aspect, how they apply to your day-to-day life.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I got heaps more. I'll tell you more, like Adam and Eve and all these sorts of ones. Because what's the story of Adam and Eve? It's just like, they were in heaven, and then God told them not to eat from this tree, and then they ate from the tree, and then they got kicked out of heaven. You know that story, yeah? That's a very simplistic story. It sounds like a fairy tale, and people criticize it like an atheist would say. That's ridiculous. You know what? That doesn't make any sense. But if you look deeper, there's messages in the story that you're not understanding. Yeah. You know? Anyway, sorry to bring it to this type of topic.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
No, let's finish off with a question. Give me one sec. All right, let's finish off with a question that I like to ask every guest. What is your favorite film? And you think it's kind of frivolous just to ask someone that, but I think it tells you a lot about someone's personality. I think it tells you, and obviously it changes. Your favorite film right now is not going to be the same as your favorite film in the future. Yeah. But as of right now, if I was to ask you, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? What's your favorite film?
It's a bit silly.
It doesn't have to be silly. No, it's not silly. Remember, this is someone you're talking to that thinks High School Musical is a mythological piece. You know what I mean? So, like, it won't be silly.
I mean, look, there's a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. It probably depends on my mood. But one of the first thing I can think of is Paddington Bear. Have you ever seen the movie Paddington?
I haven't seen it, but from what I've heard, apparently it's an incredible film.
Well, it's based on like British children's book.
Yes.
It's a children's book character. The main reason I like it is mainly because if you see the character of Paddington, the bear, he's a lovely person who looks at the best in everyone and wants to bring out the best in everyone and just treats people with like such compassion and love and respect. And there's a part of me that thinks, I want to be like that bear. I hope I'm a little bit like that bear.
Eslem, you said 2 seconds ago that this was going to be like stupid or frivolous or thing. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that is a fascinating insight into how you are as a human being and how you see the world. Because someone who's cynical, naturally cynical people, are like, they always assume the worst of people and whatever. They would look at that movie and be like, what an unrealistic movie. You know what I mean? It's some bear walking through a train station. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas someone who's idealistic and wants to see the best of people would look at that and be like, wow, what an interesting character or what an interesting type of person or personality the bear has.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's frivolous at all. Carry on. You keep going.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's just like, like he moves into this family where they've all got issues of their own, and
he brightens everyone's life.
He brightens everyone's life and makes everyone's life just a little bit better, And every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, he's so sweet. Like I kind of want to be a little bit like that bear.
Eslem, let me finish off with something that's so fascinating, so interesting, connected to this. What thing or what concept? It's a TV show that is seen as so ridiculous and childish and kind of like nonsense, but to me has very deep meaning. SpongeBob SquarePants.
I was going to say, I think you're thinking about, because you said ridiculous and crazy. Exactly. I thought SpongeBob.
Yo, Eslem, SpongeBob as a character, watch him. He's like a child. He believes the best in everyone. Squidward is the most negative, depressed, complain about everything character, and SpongeBob never gets upset at him once. He never says, Squidward, can you stop like being so annoying and just looking at it? He's pure positivity.
Yeah.
And Squidward is pure negativity. And Patrick is pure in the moment, childlike fascination or having fun. You know what I mean? So all these characters are different aspects of a psychology of a human being. SpongeBob is pure happiness. Squidward is pure negativity. Mr. Krabs is pure greed.
Yeah.
Money. That's what he thinks about. So people can look at these types of shows and movies and say, it's just a stupid kid show, whatever. But they become successful. SpongeBob is a huge success. They become successful because they connect to a deep part of our psychology that we can't even explain. You know, and this is the part that I find so fascinating, which I've been doing for the last couple of years, looking at all these different very popular things in the world and asking, why is it popular? Why is football worth billions of dollars? Why does one team pay another team $150 million to buy that player? And you're going to say to me, because I know you've said this in the past, what a waste of time. They're just kicking a ball around.
Oh, I used to say that, but I remember you also saying, I think it was you. It just, in a sense, it is silly when you think about it. It's just a bunch of guys kicking a ball around.
In one sense, yes. But in another sense,
it gives people just something to strive for, just something to get excited for and support. And if they win, something to celebrate.
It's what makes life worth living. You know, this idea that there's real problems in the world. Children are starving somewhere, or there's like an earthquake somewhere. Yeah. Why are we kicking a ball around and paying millions of dollars? It's like, bro, if we were to say we're not going to do anything fun until all the world's problems are solved, that means life is not worth living anymore. That is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the point I try to make to people like my dad and stuff like that, because he does like movies. He does like cartoons. He likes Bugs Life, whatever, but he thinks they're frivolous. At the end of the day, if you ask him, what's the most important thing about life? Religious matters, Quran, Sunnah, all these sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But deep down, he doesn't even know this, but he understands that these things like Bugs Life and whatever are very important as well.
Yeah.
They are very important. He just can't verbalize why they are.
Well, I feel like, I like to think I'm a nice person. And I try to be a good person. And one thing that I've been thinking about a lot was Barbie movies, for instance. Like, I was obsessed with Barbie as a kid. I still am to a degree.
Yeah.
When I think about it, like, Barbie, in my opinion, is honestly a really good way to teach little girls especially how to be good people.
Absolutely.
Because they make mistakes, but they're all really nice, genuine people that
they're sincere. Yeah. They're trying their best.
Yeah.
Whereas the feminist, or like the cynical feminist mindset, is what she just cares about how she looks, and she's always interested in being so pretty, and that's the cynical mindset. Yeah, but watch the movies like Barbie, Rapunzel, whatever. She wants the best for everyone. Yeah. She doesn't want anyone else to have any bad experience or anything like that. She's a very pure soul. That's what Barbie is.
And I feel like watching that, obviously I never thought about it this much as a kid, but you'd model after that. You're like, wow, this person is, a lot of people love this person.
Keep going. I'm agreeing with you.
Your hand movement.
I'm pointing really at you and I'm agreeing with you because you're realizing something, or you're verbalizing something, like I said, that you've always known, but you've never verbalized and structured into an actual opinion.
I do feel like it's had a big part of my personality in my life. Just like, because I shouldn't have Barbie as my only model in life, but one of them, you know?
Yes. And that's the thing. It's like you can learn things from, like, why are there villains in stories? Yeah. If we just wanted the world to be a nice, positive, fantastic place, why should we even put villains in stories? Yeah. Why don't we just make everyone happy and everyone just gets along? But you can learn things from the villain, from a selfish person, from a greedy person, from a mean person. You can learn things from them because there's parts of you that are selfish and mean and cruel and whatever. And you need to learn to control those parts. And the only way you can learn to control them is if you see them, if you see their effects being dramatized in a movie, and you say, if I act cruel and selfish, I'm going to turn into this villain type character. And not literally. I'm not going to say you're going to turn into Loki because you're being mean and cruel or whatever. But the way he is and the negative aspects of his life are because of his cruelty and viciousness and whatever it is. And once you learn that I'm not perfect and I have those things inside me as well, you start to accept that, when I feel it coming out, when I have a dispute with my husband, for example, or my sibling, and part of me wants to hurt them because I'm angry, that's what I need to control, you know? I think that's a nice way to finish off.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. It was a nice first episode. And this is the plan, guys. Eventually, we're just going to keep bringing more and more guests on. We're going to keep having these fascinating conversations. And we're going to build up a big library of these. And I think it's going to be a nice piece of art that's going to stay for the rest of time. Maybe our children one day, when they're older, can look back at this podcast, listen to it, and get a sense into what our characters were like. All right. So thanks everyone for listening.